Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-presented by Panasonic, create today, enrich tomorrow.
Co-presented by
JK Tyre Ranger Series, stay wild at heart.
Good evening, hello and welcome. It's Ram Navami, but I'm afraid the news is not all good because violence has marred Ram Navami processions in some parts of the country. And the big question we'll raise tonight, is this the consequence of religion being mixed with toxic politics? That's the question we'll raise. Also, our newsmaker tonight is the Lakshadweep MP Mohammad Faisal. His case could now become a test for Rahul Gandhi in the big disqualification battle. He too was disqualified, is now reinstated. We'll be speaking to him, but first, the 9 headlines at 9. Violence hits Ram Navami festivities in Gujarat, Maharashtra, West Bengal. Reports of stone pelting in some parts and clashes between communities. Arson in Howrah after a Shaurya Yatra allegedly pelted with stones. Mamata Banerjee said she had warned against the Yatra going through a specific Muslim locality. BJP blames the Chief Minister for failing to maintain law and order. 14 dead in Indore as a temple roof caves in during the Ram Navami celebrations. Rescue ops still underway. Congress's Digvijay Singh welcomes Germany's support for Rahul Gandhi's disqualification. Union Minister Anurag Thakur calls Digvijay Singh a disgrace for welcoming foreign intervention. Congress's Siddaramaiah declares his ambition to become Chief Minister. In an interview to India Today, leaves the final decision to the High Command. BSY Des Sidda says will give him a tough fight from wherever he fights. Poster war goes national as AAP puts up anti-Modi posters across Delhi and in Ahmedabad. Language politics breaks out over dahi leaving a sour taste in Tamil Nadu. Order to rename curd in Hindi withdrawn after DMK government backlash. Prime Minister Modi reviews the new Parliament building, pays a surprise visit to the site to review progress. The new building may well begin in the monsoon session of Parliament. And fugitive Amrit Pal releases an audio from hiding, plays the victim card again, says he has run out of food. Is the hunt for the Khalistani leader nearing its end? But our top story tonight, and these are the troubling images coming in from different parts of the country today, where arson and stone pelting have erupted in some parts of the country during Ram Navami processions. Violence has been reported from Aurangabad and Jalgaon in Maharashtra, from Howrah in West Bengal and Vadodara in Gujarat. There is now heavy police presence in many of these trouble-prone areas. Like last year too, the clashes have overshadowed the Ram Navami processions. Many are now questioning why is it that in recent times these celebrations have taken a violent edge in some parts of the country. That's going to be our top focus. Take a look at today's top report.
Ram Navami, an auspicious occasion to celebrate the birth of Lord Ram, now also an occasion for political muscle flexing in several states. From Maharashtra to Gujarat to West Bengal, celebrations were marked by violence. In West Bengal's Howrah, some Hindu outfits took out processions brandishing weapons. There was widespread arson. Shops and vehicles were targeted.
তুমি তরোয়াল নিয়ে বুলডোজার নিয়ে মিছিল করবার পারমিশন অধিকার তোমায় কে দিয়েছে? আজকে আমি শুনেছি হাওড়ায় ওরা এমনকি বুলডোজারও ইউজ করেছে। What audacity they have got? তোমার যে রুট ছিল সেই রুট তুমি চেঞ্জ করলে কেন?
500 to 600 people attacked the police in Kiradpura area of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar in Maharashtra on Wednesday night. The clashes in an area where a Ram temple is located were brought under control.
छोटी सी अनबन को लेकर बड़ी संख्या में कुछ समाज कंटक लोग यहाँ इकट्ठा हो गए थे किराड़पुरा में और यहाँ उन्होंने स्टोन पेल्टिंग करी है, कुछ पुलिस के वाहन भी उन्होंने जलाए हैं, कुछ प्राइवेट वाहन जलाए हैं। पुलिस ने इन सभी लोगों को बल का इस्तेमाल करके उनको यहाँ से निकाल दिया है। तो अभी यहाँ पूरी शांतता है।
The opposition has accused the Eknath Shinde government of mishandling the situation. The government has appealed for peace.
मैं सभी से निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि शांति बनाए रखें। मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम प्रभु श्री राम जी, इनका राम जन्मोत्सव हम लोग मना रहे हैं। ऐसे समय सभी ने मर्यादाओं का पालन करना चाहिए और शहर में शांति रखनी चाहिए।
ये तनाव पैदा किया जा रहा है और उसके पीछे कौन है, ये इस राज्य के गृह मंत्री को पता होना चाहिए। ये सब कुछ कौन कर रहा है? डुप्लीकेट शिवसेना वाले काम कर रहे हैं।
In Jalgaon district, at least 45 people were arrested after clashes between two groups over music being played outside a mosque while namaz was on. In neighbouring Gujarat, stones were pelted at a Ram Navami procession in Vadodara. The police stepped in and checked the situation from getting out of control.
अभी पूरे विस्तार में शांति है। शोभा यात्रा अच्छे से अपने एरिया में आगे निकल गई है। लोग जो इकट्ठा होते हैं उनको पुलिस ने समझा के अपने अपने घरों में भेज दिया है और कोई भी किसी को कुछ इंजरी हुई ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है।
Reports of violence come a day after the Supreme Court's observations to keep religion out of politics. Terming hate speech a vicious circle, the Supreme Court said that a major problem arises when politicians mix politics with religion. The court underscored that mixing politics with religion is dangerous for democracy and needs to be segregated. Bureau Report, India Today.
Right at the very top, let's raise the big questions. Why is Ram Navami being increasingly marred by violent incidents? Is part of the problem that religion is being mixed with politics? What will it take to build trust among communities? These are some of the questions we'll raise tonight. S.Y. Qureshi is former Chief Election Commissioner of the country. He joins me. I'm joined by Anand Neelakantan, author. I'm joined by Rakesh Sinha, BJP MP, and Bishwajit Bhattacharya, senior lawyer and former ASG, is also with us. The fact is that we've seen in recent times, as I said, number of instances rising of violence during Ram Navami. Anand Neelakantan, as someone who's written about these issues, explain it to him. Why do you think this is happening? Why suddenly is a festival that would take place very peacefully, was not as large scale, has suddenly become an area of conflict at times between Hindus and Muslims?
Rajdeep, I think this is not something which is very recent. I think these kind of processions have created trouble, irrespective of which religion is taking the procession in certain parts of the country. Before partition also we had all these things. In 90s also we had, 70s also we had. I don't think it is something new. What we can say is perhaps after the liberalization, in the recent years, we are just going back to the default mode. This kind of processions, this kind of religion have always been used by various political parties for at least last 200 years to create trouble on all sides. Let us not blame one side or other. It has always happened in certain parts of the country.
So you're saying that this religion mixing with politics has always existed, and that it is not therefore according to you new. It has existed. Perhaps the scale of it, the sheer scale of it may have changed, because Rakesh Sinha, we've seen, for example, in Bengal, this was not a state which was known for hundreds of Ram Navami procession. But in the last few years, as the BJP has become more powerful in Bengal, we are seeing many more processions. When the left was in power, we certainly didn't see Ram Navami celebrated on such a large scale in Bengal. And today, Mamata Banerjee virtually accused the BJP of inciting trouble by changing the route of the Ram Navami procession with slogan shouting across minority areas. How do you respond?
Rajdeep, I am really surprised that you are questioning the increasing number of Ram Navami processions. If Hindus will not organize the Ram Navami procession,
I'm not questioning. I'm telling you. No, I'm not questioning. I'm just giving the facts.
No, your question. No, the fact is that Hindus are celebrating their festivals. They have right to celebrate their festivals. This is a liberal democracy.
Sure.
And the rule of law. Every citizen of the country, irrespective of their religion, caste, community and language, have an equal right. They derive equal right. When we derive equal right and we live together for centuries, despite that, there are certain people who say that they dictate, that I call not in the pronoun but in noun, that is the Muslim veto. You cannot march from this route, you cannot go to that route. What is this? Who had given you this right? Constitution, does the Constitution give you right to dictate the route of? We have never dictated the route of the Tajia. We welcome all these things. Have you heard ever that any stone throwing on the Tajia process, any stone throwing on the namaz? There is a dispute of namaz in public place. That is a logical dispute. Dispute on based on our utility of the public spaces, not the violence. But here violence taking place. You are saying that it is the BJP who is doing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji in 2014 ensured that sabka saath sabka vikas. This is not merely a slogan. 80 crore people are getting grains, not on the basis of religion. Ayushman and Jan Dhan Yojana reaching to the people not on the basis of religion. When the government is working on the basis of secular democracy, constitutionality, and then these things happen, there are two important things. One, the pseudo-secular political parties and intellectuals, they protect such rights. Minority rights, majoritarianism, BJP is growing. So such things protect such elements. And you always talk in pronoun, not pronoun. Those who are doing, they should be named.
Okay.
Whether they are the Hindus or Muslim.
Okay.
And here Muslims had done. And we have to name them.
Your virtue. Okay.
Last point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just tell.
Yeah, okay.
Second important thing, that Indian Muslims have to self introspect. That I don't claim that entire community is a commoner, but a certain elements which are radical, they are very dominant. They coerce the voice of the liberal Muslims. That's why the question of uniform civil code cannot be debated in the Muslim society. The liberal elements always have been crushed by the radicals.
Okay.
Therefore, I consider that self-introspection.
Rakesh Sinha, you're calling for self-introspection among Muslims, suggesting that there are rabid elements or radical elements within Muslim communities who are using these occasions to stir confrontation. That's broadly what you're saying. Now, this is being disputed on the ground. Yes. Imtiaz Jalil, the AIMIM MP in Aurangabad, has said Hindutva groups were responsible for the violence, so has Mamta Banerjee. Now, I will get S.Y. Qureshi. S.Y. Qureshi, tali do haath se bachti hai. There is a charge which Rakesh Sinha and others are making that there are Islamist groups which are using these occasions to stir violence, and according to Rakesh Sinha, how can they dictate the route of a Ram Navami procession?
Well, I don't want to join issue with Professor Sinha. He is a very learned man. But as he rightly said, Hindus and Muslims have existed for centuries. Why is it that these troubles are happening only in the recent years, for the last 10 years or so? I used to say my Eid prayer in the neighborhood park, and I haven't said it for the last 3 years. Why? Because the rowdy mobs come and they disturb, and from several places in Gurgaon, they say. Now, what is the role of the Muslims in it? My role has been that I will stop going for the prayer. Is that what you want? Are you happy with Mr. Sinha that we are not able to pray? The prayers, even within the housing society complexes in the basement, they are being disturbed. Sudden this empowerment which is being demonstrated. That is something, and we feel that it has something to do with the electoral politics. The more the polarization, the more different the results, and which is why the courts have been expressing their concern, but they have not been very effective.
No, you're saying this is a consequence of electoral politics. Are you saying that because in Bengal politics has now become BJP versus TMC, or indeed in Maharashtra now you have a BJP Shiv Sena government? Let's be clear. Maharashtra has a BJP Shiv Sena government which has seen violence. Gujarat has a BJP government which has seen violence, and Bengal has a TMC government. Law and order is a state subject. Are you linking it directly to electoral politics becoming more competitive and, dare I say, more communalized?
I am absolutely. That is what I'm saying. That electoral politics has shown lately that the more the polarization, the more the benefit to certain sections. Which is why close to the election, all these kinds of things happen. Everything which communalizes and polarizes the society, which is what is happening. And there has to be a political will, which is missing, and which is likely to be missing because of the electoral gains. And on the other hand, I would say that even the Supreme Court has not been effective enough. There has a call for genocide. Kill these people, millions of them, throw them out, establish Hindu Rashtra, and court keeps quiet. These are issues on which court should jump in suo moto. And even if occasionally when they've come out with hard statement like they did yesterday, if I was the court, all I needed to do, haul up the commissioner of police and the SP, send him to jail for 15 days, and he will stop listening to political masters after that. I've been in the bureaucracy, I know how the mind works. Because once the action is taken, because let them get sandwiched between the judicial action and the political pressure. So political pressure will be neutralized if action is taken by the court.
Let me take that to you, Bishwajit Bhattacharya. You know, the court itself, the Supreme Court yesterday said that in the context of hate speech, that the state is impotent. The moment politics and religion are segregated, all of this will end. When politics stops using religion, this will stop. Now, do you really believe that all of this is linked in a way to the political atmosphere? And as is being suggested by Dr. Qureshi, the court needs to act. They need to send out a stronger message to those in charge, the police. Today it's the police which is under question mark. All Ram Navami processions are a law and order issue. If there was strong police presence, why would one group take law into their own hands? So should the courts be doing more than just talking? They need to force the administration to walk the talk. When it comes to hate speech, people who do hate speech get away in this country.
Rajdeep, I would say that what Dr. Qureshi has stated, I would respectfully agree with him. I would also say that the division bench of Supreme Court is also absolutely correct. You see, the religion and politics should never be mixed. And I can tell you personally from my personal experience of life, that Hindus and Muslims have great friendship, love, and affinity for each other on a one-to-one basis. It's only at the political level. The problem creeps in. And I am also reminded today, in this occasion, because it's a very sensitive topic, what Swami Vivekananda had said in that historic Chicago address in 1893 September, that I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world universal toleration and acceptance. And Hinduism is the mother of all the sort of religions. What is a mother? Mother is supposed to protect the child. And Mukesh is completing 100 years on 22nd of July. You just see that song of Chaliya. Chaliya mera naam, chalna mera kaam, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, sabko mera salam. You see, the point is that we have not read the religion. We have not read Hinduism. We have not read Christianity. We have not read Sikhism. Banth chako, kirat karo, naam japo. Hinduism.
No, but it cannot just be just a minute.
All the religions teach the same thing. It is love and affection.
Okay, I take your point, but Anand Neelakantan, you know, there is a sense that as we show those images, there was an image of the, you know, Ram Navami was about Maryada Purushottam. Ram as an inclusive figure. Now we are seeing Ram as the warrior. Take a look at some of the images I'll play. People with swords, people out there, much more militant. Is that a changing definition, you think, of Ram? From Maryada Purushottam, Ram has now become almost a warrior-like figure. Is that part of the issue?
It is a part of the issue. I think the nature of Hinduism itself has undergone a change in the recent times. It is mimicking more like, pardon my frankness, it is mimicking more like the medieval Islam and medieval Christianity rather than the inclusive nature of the Hinduism. So, in my childhood, Ram was never portrayed alone. Ram was always with Siya, Ram was always with Sita, Hanuman, and Lakshman. It is a Kalyan Ram's image which we used to pray. My elders used to say, if you show Ram alone, it is inauspicious. And now, what are the image of the Ram seeing? We are seeing an angry Ram, we are seeing an angry Hanuman, which I think it is like a mimicking many of the medieval Semitic religion. There is no point in mincing words. There was always a kind of intolerance in Semitic religion, whichever way we try to polish it. It changed after the Renaissance in Europe, but many of the religions still have the intolerance. Now, the present form of Hinduism, what we are seeing now, it is exactly mimicking the intolerance of many of the Abrahamic religions, and that is why the problems are coming.
You know,
we always
you're saying that, I can see Rakesh Sinha in a way dying to step in, because Rakesh Sinha, what is being suggested by Anand Neelakantan has been said by others also, that newfound political Hinduism with aggression and having been politically empowered is mimicking medieval Islam. That the kind of images now played out at Ram Navami were not the images that were played out 50 years ago. Sword wielding, slogan shouting is an aggression of warrior-like Hinduism, which is replacing Hinduism's inclusive, tolerant character.
I am disagreeing with such logic. Before independence, when Hindutva movement was not strong, the region of disputes between Hindus and Muslims were the idol immersion, music, and the route of the processions. These three issues, for not less than 100 years during the British regime, haunted the British administration and the police. Then we realized that there was the rule of based on the divide and rule. So Britishers enjoyed that fight between the Hindus and Muslims on some trivial issues. Rajdeep, we are living together for centuries, and we will live together for the time span cannot be said in words. We will live together. Why this dispute?
No, I take your point, but these sword-wielding images. Sir, I am not disputing what you are saying, and we can go back in time, and even Ganesh processions have led to violence. But I ask you, do you believe that these are the images of a new Hinduism, or do they represent the traditions of Hinduism?
Do you think that Bhagwan Ram's that image inspires for the violence? Or that Baroda violence is related to Bhagwan Ram's that image? Is it Hindus who have thrown a stone on the Muslim houses? It's not. I am one of the person who believe that there should be a solid unity between the two community. And here we become pseudo-secular when the question comes that they are the gundas. Not only gundas, they are inspired by the religious sentiment. They are throwing stones on the day when there is Holy Ramzan. And the liberal Muslims are failing.
Okay,
I blame the liberal Muslims.
Let me take that to Dr. Qureshi, sir.
Failed, and after the independence, they are failing.
Rakesh Sinha, let's take that to Dr. Qureshi. Dr. Qureshi, here is Rakesh Sinha saying that if stones are thrown on a procession, whatever be the provocation, unacceptable. You can't throw stones. According to Rakesh Sinha, liberal Muslims have failed by not being strong, tough enough against those who are misusing or are taking law into their own hands by throwing stones on processions. Certainly in Vadodara, this is what was reported. This has also been reported in Jalgaon.
Yes, obviously, anyone throwing stones at any other person's procession has to be booked, and the strongest possible action should be taken. But at the same time, it should be investigated whether the people who are accused of throwing stones are really the people who threw stones, because we have also seen many instances where allegations were made, whereas the people throwing stones were different people. So we need a little bit of intellectual honesty there, and that has to come from the administration, from the police. They know if we allow the SHO to run the administration by textbook, nothing will happen. because they know exactly who is the criminal, what is happening.
So you're
To be-
saying, as a former IAS officer who served as a collector, no doubt, you're saying if the administration, whether police or the civil services, acted firmly in a non-partisan manner, none of this would happen. Am I correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, you want to respond, Rakesh Sinha, to what you just heard from Dr. Qureshi? He says there is, he condemns any form of stone pelting.
I understood.
Every liberal Muslim cannot be held responsible for what happens on the street. Just as every liberal Hindu cannot be held responsible for violence. There are extremists in both communities.
No, I'm just telling you, Rajdeep. No, I'm telling you that this is the month where we celebrate Bhagwan Ram's birthday. We know even there is no state, there is no police, there is no administration, there should not be any violence. If we have to take shelter of the state, police and administration to safeguard our procession, this means we are not united by heart. We are one people with divisive objective. And that is my real concern. And my concern is that if there is a Ramzan, if I am doing something which is going against their sentiment, then I am not supporting the one nation, one people. This nation has been formed on the basis of one nation, one people. And I am really surprised that I consider Mr. Qureshi is a very, very intelligent person, very balanced person, but he is hiding, and he is trying to hide the same of this stone throwing and in the conspiracy theory. It might be done by some other.
No, are you saying it's all one-sided? No, let's be clear. Sir, tali do haath se bajti hai. Nothing is one-sided. No one, let's be clear, there are gunda elements in both communities.
Sir,
let's not say gundas are only in one community.
There is no balancing act. Here there is no balancing act.
I
am giving one example, Rajdeep, what happened. In Ajmer, Mr. Qureshi must be knowing that in Ajmer there was a communal rights. 800 people were arrested from the same community because they were involved. Here Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru intervened and said, no, arrest some other people because we have to balance. This balancing act is a very dangerous and detrimental for secularism. Anyone who is responsible must be booked. But you don't do the balancing act.
It's not
just
about,
for the sake of your image.
It's not about balancing act. We have to call a spade a spade.
Is a really black spot on our liberal democracy.
Okay, you're saying it's an example of pseudo-secularism. Vishwajit Bhattacharya, you want to respond at a time because this matter, even in the court yesterday, the Solicitor General said that the court, the judges were in a way pardoning some kind, some type of hate speech was being condoned while other hate speech was being penalized. Is there a sense that the law needs to ensure that anyone who takes the law into their own hands, whether it's on a Ganesh Chaturthi procession, whether it's today in Ram Navami, they must be punished? Violence is unacceptable. Do you believe the courts could do more? I come back to it, Vishwajit Bhattacharya. Could the courts do more?
Courts can surely do more, and I am very happy that at least the bench of the Honorable Justice Joseph and Honorable Justice Nagaratna, it is an outstanding sort of beginning, and the message has gone loud and clear. If you take law into your own hand, whichever side you are, and I would entirely agree with Dr. Qureshi that the civil servants and police, they have to stand absolutely straight because this is a very, very sensitive issue, and communal politics and mixing religion with politics should be eschewed, and courts should come down with a heavy hand, and I'm sure it will come. And overridingly, Rajdeep, if I may say, I would implore upon all the politicians to just, this hatred politics, whichever community you are, this hatred politics must be eschewed. And message
but
has
nobody is convicted, Mr. Bhattacharya. That's all very well. The fact is, people have got away with hate speech for years. The fact is, the law will only rap on the knuckles.
Rajdeep, I can say a lot more, but unfortunately, I should not say. During this national television channel, I have lots to say, but I am restraining myself. People in position of power also must not incite.
Okay.
That's the least I can say.
I think that's an important point, that people in power should not incite. But Anand Neelakantan, as I said, we can go back in time. Even in the 19th century, we have instances where riots happened over Ganesh celebration. So it's not something that's only happened, you're right, in the last 8 years. However, there's a sense that the trust factor has even grown further. The mistrust has widened. There's a widening mistrust between communities. How do you overcome that? There's the road. There is
no mistrust.
No, there is. Let's call a spade a spade. There is an element of polarization and counter-polarization. 1 minute.
The problem is at the political level.
Okay.
1 to 1, no mistrust.
Okay, you're saying it's at a political level, not citizen. Anand, go ahead.
Sir is trying to give a very rosy picture. What I feel is that it is not just some politicians or some religious people going and calling for genocide and all those things. Though all those things theoretically can be curbed. Okay, court can take action, IAS officer can take action. What I am finding worrying is the kind of WhatsApp messages, the kind of social media hatred which is spreading. It is spreading down to the common people. This is what we are seeing, the polarization what we are seeing now. It is not. Politicians have always used it. 100 years ago, the first riot, I think, Ram Navami in 1979, it happened in Bihar, if I remember correctly. All those things have happened many times. But now what is happening into the middle class homes, into the younger generations, into their mobile phones, there is a deliberate attempt among all communities. I won't blame any political party or other things. The kind of hate messages which keeps coming, which is actually worrying.
You're saying that in a way, hate has got normalized. And I think that's really the key. Hate in a way
has got institutionalized and normalized.
Okay, that's the critical part. And therefore, even a procession of Ram Navami, which should be an occasion to celebrate, then becomes caught up in communal polarization. So the politicians may well feed on it. But you and I, the people who use social media, the people in television studios who spew hate on each other, they've got to introspect. What is the damage that you are doing as a result to those mischief mongers who then take advantage of this? Think about it. We want to celebrate Ram Navami. We want to celebrate Ramzan. That's the way, without one community being pitted against the other. Is that possible? That's what India really should think about. Thank you to my guests for joining me on my top talking point there tonight. Let me turn from there to an issue which in a sense again reflects the widening mistrust, because remember yesterday the Rajasthan High Court acquitted all the accused in the 2008 Jaipur serial blast case. The acquittal came 4 years after these very individuals had been given the death sentence by a lower court. Now, while there is a sense of relief amongst the family members, there is anger among the families of those who died in the serial blasts. Here again is a story that reflects the widening divide on the ground.
May 13th, 2008. A series of bomb blasts ripped through Jaipur's old city area. 71 people are killed and over 180 injured. 15 years later, the Rajasthan High Court verdict has acquitted all the accused earlier convicted by a lower court. Mohammad Sarwar Azmi, Saifur Rahman Ansari, Mohammad Saif and Mohammad Salman, who were sentenced to death in 2019, will walk out of jail soon. Their families in Azamgarh are overjoyed.
सेशन कोर्ट से जो है उसको सजा हो गई थी, जबकि कोई सबूत नहीं, कोई गवाह एक भी नहीं थे। गवाह जितने थे लगभग हमारे वकील साहब थे पैकर फारूक साहब, उन्होंने बताया 1300 गवाह थे, 1300 के लगभग, और एक भी गवाह जो है उनका टिका नहीं, सब गवाह टूट गए क्योंकि वो सब फर्जी गवाह थे, सब पुलिस के गवाह।
देखिए, ये तो हम लोगों के लिए खुशी की बात है, पूरे संजरपुर के लिए नहीं बल्कि पूरे आजमगढ़ के लिए, इसलिए कि इसको एक राजनीतिक स्टंट बना दिया गया था।
The verdict, on the other hand, has reopened old wounds. The families of victims wonder if they will get closure. if the actual criminals behind the terror attacks will ever be brought to justice.
जैसे अंदर घुसे, चप्पल खोली इन्होंने और ब्लास्ट हो गया। ब्लास्ट में ये नीचे ही ढेर हो गई और इनको लहूलुहान हालत में SMS अस्पताल पहुंचाया गया। अस्पताल पहुंचते ही वहां तो लाशों के वैसे ही ढेर पड़े हुए थे। हम समझ नहीं पा रहे थे कि क्या करेंगे। रात को 12 बजे बाद में डॉक्टर्स की टीम आई। उन्होंने बताया कि इनको तो भारी इंजरी हुई है और उसी दौरान उनको MIR करवाना था और उन्होंने करवाया, जो कि नहीं करवाना चाहिए था। बाद में डॉक्टरों ने कहा कि ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था। कोमा में जाने का कारण यही रहा। सर 2008 में ये ब्लास्ट हुआ था, 2012 में उनकी डेथ हुई थी।
The division bench of Justices Pankaj Bhandari and Sameer Jain that acquitted the convicts tore into the investigation by the anti-terror squad. The court said it is a classic example of institutional failure resulting in botched investigation. In the judgment, the court said the investigating agency lacked the required legal skills as they are not aware about the statutory prerequisites and mandatory requirements. The court said the police had failed to secure and record the complete evidence. It has directed Rajasthan DGP to initiate disciplinary action against the investigating team. The acquittal of the accused has triggered a political showdown. Both BJP and his rivals within the Congress are targeting CM Ashok Gehlot.
ये एक बहुत बड़ा गंभीर इशू है। हम सबको याद है जब ब्लास्ट हुए थे इतने लोगों की जान गई और फिर आरोपी को पकड़ा गया, इतने साल तक केस चला, लोअर कोर्ट ने इनको मौत की सजा सुनाई थी। तो फिर ये तो गृह मंत्रालय को या लॉ डिपार्टमेंट को आत्मचिंतन करना पड़ेगा कि इतनी मौत की सजा सुनाने के बाद भी जिम्मेदार लोगों पर जांच होनी चाहिए कि ऐसा कैसे हुआ।
The state government has decided to challenge the acquittal in the Supreme Court.
Rajasthan High Court in the 2008 Jaipur bomb blast case has severely indicted the investigating agency, accusing it of fabricating evidence in the entire matter. With the court acquitting 4 of the accused in the case, it is the family members of those who died an unenviable death on that day who have been left continuing to bear pain and agony in the matter. This is Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur for India Today.
Miscarriage of justice. Let's turn from there to the big political story. Remember, Rahul Gandhi's disqualification continues to reverberate politically. But there is the story of the former, of the MP from Lakshadweep, the NCP MP, Mohammad Faisal, who finally was reinstated yesterday after being disqualified because he was convicted in an attempted murder case. He took his case to the Supreme Court after having got a stay in the High Court of Kerala, but he was still not reinstated for 2 months. Will his case become a precedent now for Rahul Gandhi? That's the question I raised with Mohammad Faisal, our newsmaker today. Listen in to him. And joining me now is our newsmaker today. I'm joined by Mohammad Faisal, the Lakshadweep NCP MP, who, remember, was disqualified after being charged with attempted murder and then got relief from the Lok Sabha after he appealed to the Supreme Court. Appreciate your joining us here, Mr. Faisal. Your case has attracted so much of attention because Rahul Gandhi has been disqualified under the same provisions, Section 883 of the Representation of People's Act. Give us your sense. Do you believe that this law is the right one, or do you believe this law is compromising the rights of members of parliament, that you get disqualified even before you can go and appeal?
So there are two aspects of it. As far as law is concerned, law is equal for everybody. That was the Lily Thomas case, which gone into the serious aspect of giving equality to everyone. There is no special consideration for the elected members like MP or MLA. That is fine. When a member of parliament, sitting MP or MLA, gets convicted by the court of law, automatically he will get disqualified. Absolutely, there is no issue on that. because law should be at par with everybody. Now, once that the Supreme Court struck down based on the this Lily Thomas case, but somehow that laws which has happened to the public representative has to be reinstated somewhere. By that only the Supreme Court has said in the this Lok Prahari case in 2018 that once the apex court suspend the conviction of the lower court, which made the disqualification of the sitting MP, shall the correct word is the disqualification factor shall not operate. That is the coverage of striking down of the People's Representative Act 8/3 and giving a chance for a fair representation to the sitting member of parliament. In this case, what is the issue here is whether the government is using it like a tool to to suppress or to silence the oppositions. This is a question which is now around resounding everywhere. Now, in my case, what happened was that the Lok Sabha Secretariat or the government was so hurry in disqualifying me.
In these 2 months, what did the Lok Sabha Secretariat tell you? Why was the Lok Sabha Secretariat holding or refusing to reinstate you? You went to the Speaker's office several times. Why were they refusing to reinstate you? What did they say?
Rajdeep, absolutely there is nothing to say from their side. It was just lame excuses they are putting before me. File is submitted to the speaker. Speaker is making a call, and this will happen today or happen by tomorrow or day after tomorrow by Friday. This were the answers given to me and my floor leader Supriya Sule. She used to meet every day the speaker. But he never said that it is, if really they wanted, I mean, was there any problem? They could have been, given in writing to me that by this law or by this provision of the parliament proceedings or by established settled law, we are not in a position to take you back. But they didn't give anything in writing for the last 2 months. They were quietly sitting on the file and not taking any decision. This was a fact in my case.
Let me get this very clear. You said you went continuously to the Lok Sabha Secretariat along with your leader Supriya Sule. The Speaker's office refused to give you any commitment either in writing as to when you would be reinstated until suddenly you go to the Supreme Court and on that very morning you are reinstated. Am I correct?
That's perfect. Like, I had to finally knock the door of the Supreme Court to reinstate my membership, and they really knew that the Supreme Court is going to give a favorable judgment for me because that is a settled law of the land. So there is nothing to say against my writ petition filed to the Supreme Court. They, on the same, immediately, they signed my reinstatement. They could have done the very next day of 25th of January, 27th, I have given a representation. Supriya Sule have given a representation. Myself and Pawar Saab met the Speaker. At that point of time, nothing was stopping them to give me this reinstatement order. And the present notification which they given very late, in that also very clearly they say in the second paragraph, they say that this is my disqualification factor. The order is ceased to operate based on the 25th of January's order of the High Court. My simple question is, if this was the thing which they have to give, why they kept me waiting for this much days? Why they made me run around the office of the Secretariat and Speaker? My leaders every day go and meeting them. So what was the reason for such a delay?
Does that suggest that the Speaker was behaving in a manner that was against the law of the land? Are you saying that? Fazil, let's be very clear. Are you saying the Speaker's office was denying you your right as a Lok Sabha MP?
Rajdeep, it's very clear from the actions. The action speaks louder than voice. One way, the Election Commission of India, which is a constitutional office, that office stops the proceedings of the by-election as soon as the High Court order come on 25th of January, they submits a statement before the Supreme Court, which I had go to the Supreme Court to stay the by-election proceedings, and they submits a statement before the Supreme Court that they will act according to the law. And agreeing to that, they come out with a press note on 30th or 31st that the by-election which is declared to the Lakshadweep stands cancelled or it is freezed. This is a constitutional body, they act according to the law. And on the other hand, the parliamentary Lok Sabha Secretariat, which is also a constitutional office, and we call it as a temple of democracy, the biggest democratic office or constitutional office. Why this law is not applicable to them? The prime importance is to disqualify the MPs who is making some noise or some opposition sounds against the government. What Rahul Gandhi have made the speech. What is my position in Lakshadweep now? Lakshadweep is, you know that for the least past, you only have interviewed me, the turmoil which we had with the new administrator. And I was in front against these government policies and policies. So what exactly they wanted from their actions, it speaks out that it is very clear that they wanted to keep us outside rather than taking inside with all provisions which I am rightly qualified and no one can stop me with the present law. That even that they were delaying. Yeah.
Do you therefore believe Rahul Gandhi should immediately go in appeal? Until you went in appeal and you got a suspended sentence and conviction, do you believe Rahul Gandhi should immediately go and seek a suspended sentence of seek a suspension of his conviction? That's the only way forward.
Yeah. See, that is like this is their political will to take a call on it, but to get into the parliament back to his seat, the best and the final remedy before him is to suspend his conviction immediately from the upper court. That only give him the solace to come back to the seat and carry out as a member of parliament. This is what from my experience I could say.
Okay. You've spoken out, Fazil. You've told us your experience and I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much, Mohammad Fazil, for joining me here on the news today. Thank you. Why did the speaker hold on to Mohammad Fazil's membership for 2 months? These are the questions that must be asked. These are the questions that we on News Today will continue to ask those in power. Let's turn from there to our Get Real India story. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is on day 2 of her dharna against the central government over the host of issues. One of those issues that she has raised is rather contentious. She claims the centre has been denying Manrega funds to the West Bengal government. What's the truth? Is it true that the centre is discriminating against Bengal when it comes to funds? Take a look. Get Real India.
The TMC and BJP at daggers drawn. Mamata Banerjee tears into her rivals at a Kolkata protest. The TMC alleges the Narendra Modi government is denying central funds to West Bengal. As the political temperature rises, India Today carried out a reality check in parts of rural Bengal. This is Bangar in South 24 Parganas, 30 kilometers from the location where Mamata Banerjee was holding her dharna.
The centre has withheld several welfare schemes in West Bengal, including Manrega, for over a year now, putting ruling Trinamool Congress government in an uncomfortable situation ahead of Panchayat election, while state government tries to resolve the issue, putting pressure, desperately looking for avenues to generate income in rural Bengal. Let's take a reality check in a village of South 24 Pargana district to see how rural Bengal is struggling for bread and butter.
Muslima Bibi in Uttar Ghazipur village is among those who has a job card but is not getting money under Manrega scheme.
5 साल 6 साल हो गया।
अच्छा।
एक बस से कम नहीं होगा। पैसा अकाउंट पे नहीं ढका। कितना कमाई होती कि दिन 400 450 500 এরকম লোক जमा लेता है कि इसको काम नहीं करता।
75-year-old Abdul Rashid Molla has been on the rolls since 2015 for 100 days work every year, but has been jobless for the last 1 year. He and his wife both had job cards.
আমার 45টা কাজ আছে, মাত্র 2000 টাকা পেয়েছিলাম।
কত টাকা পাবেন এখনো?
এখনো ওই যে রোজের দাম কত 200 কত করে দিয়েছিল সেটা আমার মনে নেই, এবারে ওইটা করে পাওয়া যাবে।
এখন অনেক টাকা পাবেন?
হ্যাঁ পাবো।
আপনার পরিবারে এখন কি অবস্থা? এই 1 বছর ধরে যে হলো ওনার
হ্যাঁ শরীরে এবারে টাকা পয়সা কিছু নেই, এবার ছেলেদের কাছ থেকে নিয়ে এবারে ওই সব টাকা পয়সা নিয়ে ওর ট্রিটমেন্ট করা হয়েছে।
New job cards are not being issued in the villages now. Many residents of Uttar Ghazipur village are running from pillar to post for a new card.
आज तक गाँव का 450 या 500 जो जॉब कार्ड होल्डर्स है, उस सबका 7 से 8 लाख रुपया सबका मिलके पैसा नहीं मिला। 1 साल 2 साल होने जा रहा है, उसका पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है। गांव का आदमी बहुत दिक्कत में है और किसी का फैमिली उसमें ही चलता था।
The Central Job Guarantee Scheme is one of the biggest measures that has helped in alleviating rural poverty. Now many in Bengal claim they are being denied their lifeline. With Ritik Mondal in South 24 Parganas, Bureau Report, India Today.
Why should the poor of this country be caught in center-state tangles? Think about it. Let's take a break. On the other side, our Good News Today story and impact of last night's News Today. We'll tell you more as to how a Goa minister is now planning to help a young woman get her dream job. Back in a moment.
कोई भी सिक्योरिटी के बगैर गए, उन्होंने खुद कहा है कि देखिए मैंने लाल चौक में झंडा फहरा दिया। उनको ये मालूम नहीं है आपके समय में नहीं फहरा सकते थे, आज फहरा सकते हो। ये मोदी जी के कारण हुआ है।